Hi everybody. When I first heard the term 21st century learning, I thought about a classroom similar to the one that I'm standing in right now, where laptops replace notebooks and smartboards replace blackboards and cameras replace sketchpads. And while tech certainly does play a role in 21st century learning, the term involves many more components. Today I want to focus on 4 of those components and evaluate how I have used some of them and how I plan to use more of them in the future in my classroom and in my work. So let's begin.
Today I'd like to focus on the 4 learning components that scholars often mention when they discuss 21st century learning. Those components are collaboration, information literacy, critical thinking, and creativity. Regarding collaboration, according to the National Education Association, when students use this 21st century skill, they, and I quote, assume shared responsibility for collaborative work and value individual contributions made by each team member, end quote. One way that I emphasize this 21st century learning skill in my classroom is through an assignment that I call cycle slides. Cycle slides are a set of Google Slides that I will assign to a group of 3 to 4 students. The students will have 1 full cycle, that's about 8 calendar days, to complete the task. Each group member is given a specific role to perform, and I will assess the students both individually and as a group. Research by Debai Lee, Yul Hu, and Charles Regluth has shown that such group projects can help students to resolve intergroup conflict and learn the essential social skills that aid collaboration. Another helpful aspect of cycle slides is that the assignment also emphasizes the 21st century learning skill of information literacy. One of the roles of every assignment is the citation manager. This student is responsible for properly referencing the information that his group uses in order to complete the project. According to Patricia Sen Breivik of the American Library Association, students of the 21st century must be able to evaluate and effectively use information, and teachers must provide assessments that help students to sharpen those skills. This is precisely what I had in mind when I came up with the role of the citation manager. One 21st century learning skill that I would like to emphasize in my classroom is the self-reflective aspect of critical thinking. According to the National Education Association, a key component of this skill is the ability of a student to reflect critically on learning experiences and processes. I currently use the program Albert, which allows students to take online assessments and then generates analytical breakdowns of student performance. As you can see from the images, Albert provides teachers and students with a performance breakdown based on content and skills. I hope to create an assessment in which students use the technology of Albert in order to present their own evaluation report on their learning experience. Research done by J. Michael Spector and a group of his colleagues shows that students that have used, and I quote, sophisticated learning analytics applied to performance, end quote, tend to be more engaged with their work because learning becomes more efficient. Speaking of engagement, the most engaging component of 21st century learning is creativity. Dana Hendrickson, Punya Mishra, and Petra Fieser used this model by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi to identify where creativity can exist within an educational setting. Hendrickson and her colleagues argued that the individual, or in this case the student, working within the domain, in this case the subject area, can contribute to the field of experts in that subject if the individual is to approach the subject through a creative lens. Because technology often presents new ways to be creative within a particular subject, Hendrickson and her colleagues encourage teachers to think of ways to allow their students to use technology in order to, and I quote, present content creatively, end quote. I believe that documentary filmmaking fits Punya Mishra's TPAC framework as a creative way for my students to present historical content. In fact, I am currently using the technology within my school's STEM lab to make this video. My hope is to work together with the teachers of my school's movie making and editing class so that I could competently teach a history filmmaking course, and thus complete all phases of the TPAC cycle. Speaking of cycles, let's return to the beginning.
Well, here we are, back in the room that I first thought of when I heard the term 21st century learning. For me to fully embrace the component of creativity, I would hope that this room becomes an extension of my own classroom. Using my internal professional learning network, that is, the tech teachers in my school, and my external professional learning network, that would be history teachers throughout the country, I would hope to create projects that would force my students to use this room as the basis for the completion of those projects. I envision something like this being a workshop for history documentaries or historical fiction short films. If I could accomplish that, then I would think my class would truly become a TPAC-inspired 21st century learning environment. Thank you.